In a world that never seems to pause, where the to-do lists pile high and the noise never truly fades, it's easy to wonder, does any of it really make a difference? But what if the biggest breakthroughs didn't come from giant leaps, but from the smallest of moments? One breath to calm the storm, one choice to shift direction, one step to change your course entirely. Maybe this is that moment, not just another Monday, but a beginning, a spark, a reminder that you matter, and your story's still being written. You're listening to Talk Radio, and this is Motivational Monday.
following is rated TVMA and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey, Lakewood, and everywhere else you're listening from. Welcome back to another edition of Motivational Monday right here on Talk Radio. It's June 16th, 2025, and here's your friendly little reality check to end your day. We're officially 167 days into the year. That's 4,008 hours already lived. 240,480 minutes invested, and exactly 14,428,800 seconds gone, just like that. Tick tock gone. Don't panic. I'm not trying to give you a stress attack with numbers and countdowns, but let's be honest. We are 45.75% of the way through 2025. And if you're anything like me, or the hundreds of folks I've talked to this past week, well, not really 100, but you get the drift. You might be sitting there thinking, wait, hold up. Has the year even started yet? If you're feeling stuck, behind, worn out, or like your New Year's motivation ghosted you back in February, you're not alone. That fog, that fatigue, that feeling of I should be further along by now, it's real, it's human, and you are not broken. But here's where today gets exciting, because the theme we're diving into is exactly what we all need right now. The power of one. Small steps, big change. That's right. We're not talking about big goals or 10-point productivity plans. Today is all about micro actions, those tiny, almost invisible choices we make every day. That one push-up you do when you don't feel like working out, that one email you send that opens a door, that one deep breath you take before you react, that one kind word you give when you're having a rough day yourself. These aren't game changers in the moment, but stack them up, they become the game. And I've got stories to share, personal ones, maybe some listener submitted ones, we'll see, even some science-backed ones. Science-backed ones. You like that? Science-backed? That prove how small steps create seismic shifts over time. So if your year feels stalled, if you've been waiting for the perfect time to start something, this episode is your sign, because the power to shift your entire story might not be in everything you do. It might just be in one thing. So grab your coffee, take a breath, and let's kick off this Monday with purpose. You're listening to Talk Radio, and this is Motivational Monday. Let's be honest, we don't get stuck because we're lazy. We get stuck because we're overwhelmed. There's this constant pressure to do everything right now. Fix the finances, crush the goals, declutter the house, finish the degree, get the raise, save the relationship. Oh, and answer all your emails before they multiply like gremlins. I like how I did that. So instead of starting, we freeze. Not because we don't care, but because we care so much that the weight of it all feels paralyzing. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, no matter how thirsty you are. It's just way too much. So what do? We shut down, we scroll, we procrastinate, and then we beat ourselves up for not being motivated. But that's a lie. The truth is, motivation doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You get it? It doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Let's flip the script. Let's look at the science behind small steps making big changes. First up, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. He shows that it's not the huge dramatic gestures that transform your life. It's the tiny, almost invisible choices done over and over again. Eat a burger every day or a salad. Skip the gym or go for a walk. Spend money or save $5. Each choice on its own feels like it doesn't matter. But over a year, it builds momentum. It compounds like interest in a bank account. And suddenly, your entire trajectory has shifted. Then there's Atomic Habits by James Clear. You might have heard this stat before. If you get just 1% better every day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. Not 37%, 37 times. That's not magic. That's math. That's the power of daily, consistent improvement. It's proof that showing up, even when it's small, even when it's messy, matters. And Harvard research backs it up. A long-term study showed that people who practice micro habits, something as small as journaling for 5 minutes a day or doing a single push-up, reported higher life satisfaction and greater goal completion than people who made big, irregular attempts. Why? Because small steps are sustainable. They're not overwhelming. They're doable, even on your worst days. So why do small steps matter so much? Because they create momentum. They quiet the inner critic that says you can't. They replace the fear of failure with proof that progress is happening, even if it's slow. Think of it like this. Imagine you're lost in a forest. You don't have a map. It's dark. You can't see the road out. But right in front of you, there's a flashlight. You can only see a few feet ahead. But every step you take, the light moves forward. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to keep walking. That's what progress looks like. That's what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. meant when he said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. It's not about knowing everything. It's not about having the whole plan. It's about having the courage to move forward, even when the destination isn't clear yet. And that's where most people stop. They wait until they feel ready, until they have the full picture. But in real life, clarity comes from movement. The road reveals itself as you walk it. So, as we continue this, I want you to ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today that future me will thank me for? Not 10 things, not a perfect plan, just one thing. Because one step becomes two steps become five, and 5 steps become a future you never thought possible. Stick around, because up next we're breaking down how to identify that one step for you. So let's talk action. Let's talk micro moves. In the first segment there, was about understanding why we get stuck. This one's about getting unstuck. So what is a micro move? A micro move is a tiny action, something that takes between 30 seconds to 3 minutes. It's so simple, so doable, that your brain won't talk you out of it. You don't need motivation. You don't need to feel ready. These aren't goals. They're nudges. Why do they work? Because micro moves short circuit the brain's overwhelm reflex. They get you into motion. And that momentum matters more than motivation. Let's build your toolbox. These are your go-to actions when you're stuck, spiraling, or just trying to reset your energy. Pick a few that speak to you or make up your own. The only rule, keep it short, keep it simple. Try these on for size. 1 deep breath before opening your inbox. It's like emotional armor. Pause, inhale, exhale. Now you're in charge, not your stress. Write one sentence in your journal. Doesn't have to be profound. Even a "I feel stuck" counts. The magic is in starting. Say one kind word to yourself in the mirror. You talk to yourself all day. Might as well make it encouraging, right? Floss one tooth. Sounds silly, but it's a well-known brain hack. Once you start, you'll probably keep going, unless you ain't got teeth like me. Drink one glass of water right when you wake up. Rehydrates your brain. Helps shake off that mental fog. Simple yet powerful. Take a 30-second dance break. Yes, seriously. Music plus movement equals instant mood shift. Doesn't matter if you're any good, it works. Send one thank you text. Gratitude shifts your focus. It helps them, it helps you. Win-win. Make your bed. It takes 2 minutes. It tells your brain I completed something today. Step outside and notice 5 things. The sky, the sounds, a bird, a breeze, something green, Lakewood, Washington, something green. Ground yourself in the now. Set a 5-minute timer to declutter one drawer. You'll be shocked how different your space and your brain can feel afterwards. Because here's the truth. We don't need grand gestures to build a meaningful life. It's not about conquering your to-do list. I stumble over my words all the time. Your to-do list all at once. It's about flipping the switch, changing the energy, proving to yourself that you can act even when you don't feel like it. That's the power of micro moves. They seem small, almost laughable, but do them daily and they start to stack. They build confidence. They rewire habits. They build trust in yourself, in your ability to follow through, in your ability to begin. So today I'm not asking you to change everything. Just build your toolbox. Pick one move, do it. And tomorrow, maybe you'll do another. Because progress doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from mini shifts repeated with intention. One breath, one step, one small move at a time. Now, this segment has listener stories and testimonials. This week we opened the lines and asked one simple question. What's one small thing you did that ended up making a big difference? And we didn't really get no responses, still pretty small of an audience going on. But I'm working on growing, working on building this thing over time. And, it takes time. Okay, it takes time, people. I can't just jump in and be like the top star of YouTube. It takes time. Or the top star of Twitch or Kick. As I always say, I got my kickers, my viewers over on Kick. I got my Twitchers, the viewers over on Twitch. And my tubers over on YouTube. But let's move forward now into the mindset shift. So how do you keep going? How do you stay motivated when the steps feel too small to matter? When it feels like you're moving inches while the world is sprinting miles? Let's talk about it, because here's what's true. It's not about the size of the step. It's about the direction. Consistency, intensity. It's tempting to believe that real change has to be dramatic. That if you're not making a huge leap, it's not worth it. But here's the truth. A 1-hour workout once a month does nothing. 10 minutes a day, every day, that's transformation. One journal entry, one act of kindness, one glass of water instead of soda, or Monster in my case, one intentional breath when you're about to spiral. These are not small things. They are proof of momentum. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Identity matters. Your habits are not just things you do, they're how you tell your brain, this is who I am. When you stretch for 1 minute, when you speak kindly to yourself, when you choose presence over distraction, you're casting votes. Votes for the kind of person you're becoming. And guess what? Your brain starts to believe it. I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body. I'm someone who follows through. I get back up, I keep going. Every micro move becomes a mirror. And over time, you'll look in and see someone you respect. Someone who kept showing up. You are not behind. Here's the one that hits hardest. You are not behind. Not compared to anyone. Not by some invisible timeline. Not even by your own expectations. You are right on time because you're here. You're listening. You're choosing to tune into something that lifts you instead of numbs you. And that matters. This moment right now still has the power to change your entire trajectory. trajectory. So when it feels slow, when progress looks invisible, when no one else can see the work you're doing, remember, it still counts. It's still real. And it's still working. You don't need a breakthrough today. You just need to keep voting with your actions, with your attitude, with your effort. Because every step forward, no matter how tiny, is a declaration, I'm not giving up on myself. And that, my friend, is everything. Today, don't worry about fixing everything. Don't try to reinvent your life in a day. Don't carry the weight of tomorrow, next week, or the rest of the year. Just drink the water. Just send the email. Say the prayer. Open the notebook. Take the breath. Just one thing. That's it. That's the move. That's the magic. Because one thing done with intention can shift everything. You don't need a leap right now. You need a shift. And sometimes the smallest shift changes the entire path. A degree off course doesn't feel like much at first, but give it time, and you end up in a whole new place. Wiser, stronger, healthier, braver, more you. So if today feels too big, make it small. If the list is overwhelming, just choose one thing. Just one. One choice in alignment with who you want to become. One step in the direction of your peace. One moment where you chose presence over panic. That's how change begins. Not with a roar, but with a whisper. Not with a sprint, but with a step. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do one. And tomorrow, do one again. Now this part, before we close out today's episode, I want to slow things down for a minute, take off the host hat, set aside my little persona. Not that I have a big persona, I usually just be me. And just be real with you. Not as the voice of talk radio, but as a man who's doing the best he can in a world that doesn't always see it. Yesterday was Father's Day. And while that can be a beautiful day for a lot of people, full of hugs, cards, barbecues, maybe even a little rest, but for some of us, it's a different kind of day. A quieter one, a harder one, a reminder not of what we have, but of what feels missing. And I'll be honest with you, it stung this year. There are days I don't feel like a father, even though I'm a stepdad. But I just feel like a background extra in the story of a family I'm constantly working to hold together. I feel like the person everyone depends on, but nobody really sees. Yesterday, the stepdaughter didn't even say Happy Father's Day to me. Not a word. and you try to brush it off. You tell yourself not to take it personally. Maybe it slipped their mind, or they didn't realize. But let's be honest, it hurts. It's a quiet kind of pain, the kind that builds slowly, silently, in the background of your everyday life. And if you're not careful, that silence starts to define how you see yourself. Because, be honest, I give and give and give and keep giving. Not for praise, not for attention, but because that's who I am. That's what I do. And yet, when my words go unanswered, when my efforts go unnoticed, when my presence is expected but never acknowledged, it chips away at something deeper, something sacred. And maybe you've been there too. Maybe you're living it right now. Maybe you're sitting in a house you help pay for, keep clean, and hold together, but you still feel like a guest. Maybe you bent over backward to meet everyone else's needs, and you still come up short in their eyes. Maybe you're exhausted and no one sees it. You're hurting and no one asks. You're fading and no one notices. If that's you, please hear me. You are not invisible. You are not crazy for feeling this way. And you are not just the sum total of what you do for others. Today, I'm not showing up with a motivational quote or a list of life hacks. I'm not here to spin pain into productivity. I'm just showing up, raw, weary, but real. Still here, still trying, still loving, even when the love I long for doesn't come back the way I hope. And that counts. That matters. So I'm making 2 promises to myself this week. Small but important. First, I'm going back to counseling tomorrow. Not because I'm weak, but because I've been carrying too much. And it's time to just talk to people. Talk to a counselor. Get it out. And start working on myself. Second, I'm drawing a boundary. One line, one bit of space that belongs just to me. Maybe it's a quiet walk with no expectations. Maybe it's 5 minutes behind a locked door, just breathing. Maybe it's an hour where I don't answer to anyone but myself. Because if I don't make space for me, no one else will. And I want you to hear this too. You may not feel celebrated. You may not feel heard, but you matter, with or without applause, with or without recognition. Your worth isn't found in how useful you are. Your value isn't defined by how much you give. You are not disposable. You are deeply human, and that's more than enough. But thanks for holding space with me today, for listening, not just to the words, but to the heart behind them. This has been Motivational Monday on Talk Radio. Tomorrow, we'll be back with Tuesdays in Lakewood, and I'll be there, still standing, still healing, still choosing to believe in something better for me and for everybody else. Because we're not just workers, we're not just caretakers, we are the builders of our own peace. And even when the world goes quiet, our presence still speaks volumes. So, to all you guys, take care of yourself. You're worth more than anyone's silence could ever say. And that's a wrap for this episode of Motivational Monday here on Talk Radio. Whether you were walking, working, winding down, or just searching for a little light, thank you for making space for this moment. If something I shared today hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Tell us your one small thing that's helping you move forward. Tag us and use the hashtag #TalkRadio1Thing. Because when you share, you never know who you'll inspire. Let's keep it simple. The power of one isn't about getting it all right. It's about showing up. It's about choosing to be present even when it's messy. Even when the next step feels small. Even when the finish line feels far away. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep moving. One step, one breath, one day at a time. I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesdays in Lakewood, where we bring it all back home with stories from our city, voices from the community, and the heartbeat of Lakewood, Washington. Until then, peace, power, and purpose to you and yours. And this is Talk Radio. And just remember, I may be small with my audience right now. I may be growing, but that's why I keep showing up. This is kind of like one of my small steps. I keep every night do my live and trying to build, get more viewers, get more subscribers, get more likes and shares, and just spread my message and just kind of have fun with this show. Like tomorrow, Tuesdays in Lakewood, be talking about stuff in Lakewood. Wednesday, Wedgie Wednesday, the fun night, talking about weird stuff. Thursday, Time Warp Thursday, history, unsolved mystery type stuff, just kind of weird stuff. And then Friday is finally Friday where we just wrap up the week and talk about the weekend to come and share how the week went. But tonight has just been talking about taking that one step and building from that. Don't just try to jump into something head first. Take a step, give it a feel. And as you go, it gets easier, it gets better, and, things can change. But for now, this is Jonathan Riley signing off. The wife coughing back there. I think she's dying. No, she's not dying. But anyways, much love. See you tomorrow.